All right, guys. Welcome. Today is March 15th, and as usual, we'll be analyzing US 30 gold and EU. So going back over yesterday's trades that we shared in the Discord, the trade of the day was EU. So yesterday we sent out a trade in the Discord for EU. So we had a pending filler sell at 107, 1.07559. Which went straight to TP. So if we try and replay that trade on the charts right now, 559. So we had a trade with ideally little to no drawdown. So the pending order that I'd sent out was here, 559. There it is, 559. I believe the stop loss was above this zone, and we were going for a 50 point. Let me confirm. We're going for 50 pip take profit, 40 pip stop loss. So stop loss was 40, 50 pips. I think that's how you calculate. Okay. So that trade went straight into profit, and EU has been melting since then. So ideally we got a sniper entry. Yesterday too, I sent a sell on US 30 at 32, 338. But unfortunately, I misanalyzed that trade yesterday. So yesterday, 32, 338. So our sell was ideally above this supply zone here, but we did have an hourly bearish high and bearish low, which that was my bad. I ignored this. So when I was drawing this up, what I did, I came to the left of the chart, and then I saw that we had tested that zone on the 5-minute. But what I forgot, if I go to the hourly, what I forgot is that that zone just showed up, ideally, I think it was yesterday. So hourly bearish high, hourly bearish low. So the 5-minute I was looking at was ideally all the way around here. So this zone was a new zone for us to sell. So that was my fault. So we should have ideally also for US 30 caught the sell at the hourly bearish high, and from then on price just melted down. So unfortunately our pending orders didn't fill that trade. And then I know we did analyze GJ yesterday. So our analysis for GJ, all trades hit take profit. Even though we don't trade GJ every day, but it's just like an interesting thing to look over. So I know I cleared the indicators we have. It's fine. We'll just redo it later.
Valim,
Uh,
I was gonna ask you, why don't you ever trade NAS 100 with your US 30?
so so I've been trading US 30 daily for about 3 years. So it's just I'm used to it. But the same analogy.
Because
So right now it's the same thing, right? For forex pairs, I only trade EU. I used to trade AU, but with the analysis we did with GJ yesterday, I wish I can. Oh wait, I should be able to bring
yeah, the
that
only
chart
reason I'm
up.
asking about NAS 100 because it kind
Mhm.
of runs congruent with US 30.
Yeah, so it's ideally a preference thing. To me, US 30, or let me put it this way, US 30 for me, is what I was incepted in, like trading wise. So that was my introduction to trading. So I've learned how US 30 moves. So not every time does US 30 and NAS move the same way. But for me, I've learned how US 30 moves. So trading something daily for 2 or 3 years, you get to see a couple of things here and there. So for me, I'm just used to trading US 30. Steven, which is the other guy I was telling you guys about, Steven normally trades NAS, and he's good at it. So it's ideally a preference thing. Yesterday's GJ's markups, I know they're deleted from this chart, but we made an analysis. It was from this trade right here, and then it went straight into profit. And I know I'd said if price comes back up, I would sell at the top of the zone we had. So that zone we had, I forget what the zone, what exactly the zone was, but I don't think he would have been filled in because the top of that zone was above where price retraced from. So unless you
It
sold
was 64.224.
224, okay, so you see 0.224, you'd have missed that entry by a couple of pips, right? So 224 was right there. That was the top of the zone. So that's why I said I would be looking to sell. But remember, we had a whole zone marked up, rectangle. So keep in mind, I'm only looking for sells right now on gold. That's the only thing I've analyzed. So right now, look, I think it was something like that. So we had a top, a middle, and a bottom. So I think this one had come to the middle. Yes, this one here had come to the middle. So if price came back up here, I don't recommend selling the bottom and middle of a zone if it's already been tested in the past. So that's why I'd say to sell at the top. So if you had a pending sell at the top, it wouldn't have gotten triggered. But if you entered with a small lot size at the bottom and at the middle, so always do the math about the range, right? So for me, for Forex pairs, my stop loss is normally 20 pips, which is ideally a conservative stop loss, because other traders out there, on average, what I've seen, they try to go for 50 pip stop losses or 40 pip. So knowing that I'm a conservative trader and I'm saying enter on top here, you can always go a small lot size again here and take your stop loss above the high. The only thing I don't like portraying or pushing out there is for people to over leverage, because if I say, okay, re-enter this trade here, I don't know, somebody can enter with a 10 lot and then price fakes them out 10 pips, they lose $1,000, maybe hit daily drawdown, and then price reverses all the way to the bottom. So that's why my trades are normally, a lot of my trades are no drawdown. So don't worry if you miss a trade, that's fine. So if you miss this, you should have caught the EU sell from yesterday and made your 50 pips. So we are always going to have a trade every day, or almost every day. Let me not say every day. Okay, so for US 30, what I have right now, I have a trend line coming from this lower low and touching those candles right there. We have a weekly, so let me change this weekly low to be here. And you can see US 30 tapped the top of that what is this, demand zone, and pushed all the way up. So when I send those zones out, so this is the same markup I sent for US 30, price hadn't reached here. You can always have a pending order here. So this is not too big of a zone. It's a 40, ideally an 80 pip zone or 80 point zone. So you can always set your pending order. So this I sent this morning at 8 a.m. And right now price literally rejected from the top of that zone and shot all the way up for, this is close to 300 points on US 30. A 1 lot or a 0.5 lot, this one you would have made, what is that? You'd have made a 500, 0.5 lot, you would have made maybe $1,000 on that, if I'm not wrong. Because a 1 lot, wait, give me 1 second. A 10 lot, 449 to 549. A 10 lot, you'd have made a 10 lot, you would have made, what is that? 1,000. Yeah, 10 lot, you'd have made 1,000. 0.5 lot, you'd have made 500. Yeah, so with a 0.5 lot down here with FTMO or MFF, the height of this ride right here, you'd have been up like $1,000. So that's the strength of pending orders. So we can see that price is breaking below this trend line. I have another trend line coming. And again, I don't like drawing trend lines on trading view. So it's up to you guys to trade, to draw your trend lines, because I don't want to be having too many lines on my MT4. I'm sorry, on my trading view, because it's enough that we have all this horizontal lines. So it's upon you to trade or to draw these lines either on your MT4 or on your trading view. So let's see if this trend line is gonna hold. So right now we don't have any zones here for US 30 to trade. The only, by any zones, I mean any markup, right? We don't have any bullish or bearish zones. We only have Monday low, weekly low, and then we have the trend line. So if we are trading US 30 here, we have to use the demand zones and we have to use the trend line. Now, if price closes above this trend line, still, I wouldn't get into any buys because this is the middle of this zones right here. I don't have any bullish markups. I don't have anything. So even though price closes above this trend line here, I still wouldn't take a buy on US 30. I need a, what is it? I need a high low to be established first, because right now we can see there's a lower low. So no high low has been established. So nothing can stop price from just breaking back down. So right now on US 30, I don't see anything to trade. Gold, I did mention I'm looking for a sell on gold. The best sell on gold was this candle. So the best sell was, so this closed below, this went back up to this demand, to this supply zone and closed again below. So this would have been the sell on gold, 1924. But right now, ideally this should be a sell on gold. But if you're gonna enter this sell, use a very small lot size. So it retested the top of that supply zone, retested the top of that supply zone, and then melted, or I'm sorry, closed below. So for this sell, put your stop loss above this high. So this looks like a 50 pip stop loss, which is what ideally we use for gold. So 50 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit. Again, don't use a big lot size on this trade if you're gonna enter. Okay, so let me go over something with gold, right? Since the beginning of this week or end of last week, I did say that I'm looking, actually, no, when did we get the news of banks failing? I think that was Monday. So on Monday, I did go over this analysis for gold. I said that during such times that have like uncertainty in the market, whether it's war, whether it's banks failing or economic issues, gold is a safe haven, right? So people move their money from stocks, bonds, and put it into, actually stocks mostly, and put it into bonds and gold and other metals because it's a safe haven. It's not a currency, it's a safe haven metal or store of wealth. Now, I did say to look only for buys on gold. Now, right now, I'm going to go over the reason I'm taking a sell, but I did say only look for buys on gold. Now, if we look at EU and gold, so gold is also pegged on the dollar, right? So is EU. But if you look at EU has been melting to the downside. Gold, on the other hand, has been pushing up, right? So this goes with our analysis. Like I just said, only look for gold. And I did say if gold breaks this zone right here, and I think we did take some sells previously, like around these zones. I did say that if gold breaks this zone, this is the next zone that gold that will stop gold. Now, if gold breaks 1925, for this trade, if you're 20 pips in profit, set break even. Unless you're using a filler trade, and you can risk to lose 50 pips. Now, if gold breaks 1925, 1927, and goes all the way up, there's nothing stopping gold until we get to this zone. Now, you can see we're in a much, much larger zone when we come up here. So that was the analysis on gold. I still expect gold to shoot, ideally, to keep going up to like 1950 area. Now, if gold doesn't reverse in this area, we're going all the way up to the 2000s for gold. So I did give that analysis on gold, and it's been playing out. So, and yesterday we did take trades on gold. I know the markups are not in this chart. So what I'll do, I'll go back to the Discord and show you guys the trades that I sent out for gold. So these are the trades right here. So gold pending buy, that was the first one. It went straight into profit, should have been in at break even. And then this is the next trade, that the pending trade that triggered, right? So when it triggered, it went almost, so it almost hit our stop loss, right? So we had I think a 50 pip stop loss. So you can see gold almost took us out. So I was in this trade for five lots right here. And then when gold came here, I saw this bullish hammer candle. It rejected when it almost hit our stop loss. I entered with a 2 lot. So I rode this ride all the way up. And then it went back straight into profit in my 5 lot. And I think I closed both trades with like, I don't know, a total of 70 pips or so. So when a trade, not every time will we get trades that hit or that go straight into profit, but a good number of our trades are no drawdown. So don't worry, if a trade hits stop loss, let it hit stop loss. Do not adjust your stop loss. Do not extend your stop loss. Let it hit stop loss. This was a valid trade, and you can see that price came back up. And you're not gonna, nobody wins every day, so don't worry about winning every day. We just need to win enough times. Okay, so gold, US 30 broke the trend line to the downside. It's retesting this trend line, so we might get a sell. Let me see. Yeah, but for me, I'm still looking at buys on US 30, so I wouldn't be looking to sell. And you can see price closed above the trend line again, so that's fine. And you can see that gap to the upside. So for me right now, I'm only looking for buys on US 30. I did say, so if price closed above the trend line, so this is a good buy, but if you're going to take this buy, do not use a huge lot size, because, so why do I say that? Ideally, my ideal buy is the middle of this zone. This is what I'm looking for. So remember, we had exact same setup yesterday, and price came back down and filled our entry. The reason I wouldn't be taking this buy is that we're in the middle of nowhere, no man's land. So they might just come to pick up liquidity to the bottom and push price back up. So this happened yesterday. So if you enter this buy, use a small lot size, but you need this candle to close above the trend line. So price closed above the trend line again. So close below the trend line on the 5-minute, closed above the trend line again on the 5-minute. Right now, price is retesting both the trend line and the 9 EMA. This is perfect for a buy, in my opinion. So the best entry would be to wait for this candle to close above the trend line, and then that would be the entry. Now, if you want to, again, I don't want to promote such things as FOMO. But yeah, so I would wait for this candle to close. So I'm not going to go over that trade that much because I don't want people. So I don't know if anybody took this gold sell. You should be up 1925. You should be up, what is that? You should be up 40 pips. You know, that is, and you're almost hitting full TP. There you go. So this, so don't worry about missing trades. Don't worry about hitting stop loss. We are always going to get trades. And you go, there you go, full TP on that trade for 50 pips. EU, let me see. This is, when did I draw this? I draw this. So this is that trade that hit take profit from yesterday. Now, if you see a trend like this, a strong trend, and you get into a trade, and I know some people, you know, I want to go over something that, you know, some people have been DMing me about. So if you enter a trade and it hits stop loss, right? And you see that a trend is forming and you don't have any, so in this particular case, it was a sell, right? So let's say you saw a buy here, you took a buy, and it hit stop loss at some point, and then you don't see any other entries for a sell. So the only saving grace for you, if you want to recover your money, draw, again, I cannot insist this enough, draw your trend lines, literally draw your trend lines. So if I was drawing my trend lines, and I need my MT4 is still frozen. So I think, so I know I have this trend line on EU. Actually, let me go to a new
Took
chart.
that US 30 buy with 10 lots, did like 5 and change.
Oh, so you did like 500?
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, so that was a buy. Honestly, if I was trading just by myself, I would have FOMO'd into that buy because I saw the retest of the trend line and 9 EMA, but I don't want you guys to trade with FOMO. I want you guys to have proper confluences.
Do you
But
throw
yeah,
the trend line on 5 minutes or 1 hour
no,
usually?
all my trend lines are always on the 5-minute, all of them. But they hold. So for me, if you draw it on the 5-minute and it holds, if you go on any time frame, it's gonna hold. Well, not any, I think 15, 1 minute or something like that. But all my trend lines are on the 5-minute. I don't look at any other time frame. So
So
let
the
That's
me,
my
EU,
second trade with the trend lines, man. The trend lines is really reliable.
yep,
Just gotta wait for the retest, and that's it.
yep,
Same thing, same principle, just with the trend line.
yep, yep. So let me show you the trend line for EU that I had. So this is a downtrend. So if I want to buy EU, I mean, I can see opportunities right here, like easily. Give me one quick second. Give me 1 quick second. Okay, my bad. I was getting something at the door. Okay, so I can see opportunities all over the place right here. So what I did this morning, I drew this trend line right there. And then I drew, so ideally the trend line you want it to be like equidistant. Some trend lines will not be equidistant, that's fine. And remember we need, I cleared the indicators from this. Let me
You need
put
the
that
high,
back.
high, low, low.
Yeah, you need the high, low, low. So let me see if we can get that back. I don't want to draw it on the other charts because it has too many things. But again, so I don't want to be doing this on the live session every day. So this is up to you guys to do so that we can be saving time. So for this one, what I did, I came here, I believe I used this. Yep. So this is what I have. This is what I have for EU, right? So at no given time so for any buys, EU has to break and close above this trend line. What do I see, right? I can see like an automatic buy for anybody who wants to catch a buy. What do we have here? We have, so this closed above, retested the trend line, closed above the trend line. Sure, you could have entered a buy here, but you could have been in drawdown, right? So always look at, if you're entering a trade based on trend line, always look, and remember my trades for FX pairs are 20 pips profit, 20 pips stop loss. But if I'm trying to recover a trade, I'm gonna go for a high profit target. So like 500 pips take profit. I'm sorry, 50 pips take profit. That's what we did with EU. Was it EU yesterday at the top? Okay. So for this would have been the entry for this trade, right? But remember, if you're entering a trade based on a trend line and you're trying to catch the reversal, always watch the trend line that you're basing the reversal off of. So for me here, instead of entering this trade here, I would have waited for my trend line to be validated, because ideally I'm looking forward to this low right here being established as a high low in order to confirm an uptrend. So instead of entering here, sure, I mean, you'd have gone straight into drawdown, but right now you'd have been at break even. Okay, but knowing that this is not the optimal, so always remember you're looking for the optimal entry. Right here, and I said this morning in the group, we're not looking for quick profits. We're just looking to find good entries. That is all you need. Forget about the money, forget about anything. That you only need good entries. So this is ideally, if you wanted to enter, that was the first confirmation. Right now you'd be break even or slightly into profit. But because I know that this hasn't yet been established as a high low and price hadn't come down here. Actually, wait, this would have been a hanging trend line. So let me redraw this because our trend lines are always hanging. So it would be from this lower low. Remember, this candle wouldn't have been established. So that would have been the trend line right there. Okay, so let's see. Closed above, retested here. So instead of getting in here, get in on the retouch of the trend line if you want to FOMO in. I don't know if anybody FOMOed into any of these EUs. I have some EU buys set in. Okay, there
I'm
you
in
go.
profit though.
Right, you guys are making money while I'm out here just hanging, but it's fine. So you can see this trade, this candle came, closed above and closed equidistant or at the intersection of these two trend lines. Price came back down. So ideally, if you're FOMOing into this trade, you would have FOMOed in there, right? Ideally, right here, you'd have been in drawdown and gone into drawdown about 10 or 15 pips. But then you saw this other candle come up and close above. So we can ideally be sure that there'll be a higher low established either here or here. This was the next best entry for that setup. So that's the one that should be up, but I didn't say, I didn't ask people to take this, but if I was taking this trade 424, you'd have been up like 15 pips. Actually, wait, you'd have been up 20 pips at the height of that candle. Yeah, so that's how you use this trend line. And again, this is why I don't want to be drawing them every day on my screen because I'm missing trades. Because right now I would have taken that on my MT4 because that's literally what I have on my MT4 is what I drew for you guys. So you guys need to be drawing those on your MT4. Did anybody take gold? So gold hit full TP. US 30, still waiting on US 30, EU. Yeah, so for now we have one win right there. I'm not gonna count that trade that went from there because ideally I still think this is a risky place to buy. So I'm still looking for buys. So now that I have this zone, so these candles have broken below here, right? But this trend line is still holding. So what I'll do, I'll go to the 1 minute and see if there's any other well-defined trend line that has a higher low. Okay, so currently it's only this trend line that we have, so that's fine. We're gonna leave it as is. And you can see price is attempting to close below gold, coming back up. So this is a winning trade. EU. So EU is perfect for a buy. If you ask me, a long-term buy for now. So US 30 has been following our analysis. So we did say that we're looking for US 30 to go to 29,000 area. And you can see price is literally coming to where we want, right? Price broke this demand zone right here. Price is rejecting from this demand zone. So these are the zones that are stopping US 30 from coming here. Now we have this daily bullish zone right here. Now, honestly, if price does come around 30,471, at the very least 30,321, I will be going with a heavy buy on US 30. So these are one of those trades I was talking about you can easily pass the challenge with. So for me, I'll be waiting. I prefer EU and gold to start taking those trades for going heavy and challenge passing kind of thing, because I would be looking to make like 8,000 on this trade. So, but I trust for this strategy for now, I trust EU and gold better. But for me, since I know, not I know, let me put it, I'm used to how US 30 is moving. I'll be able to try and manage my risk well, because I still see another support or demand zone below here. But if US 30 does come down here, I'll be taking a big buy on US 30. And remember, these structures don't have to be filled entirely, because what can happen here, it can form another high low here, or it can form like a low and high low, and then it can attach to a trend line up here and it can start trending up. So that's how trend lines work, right? Trend lines don't work with equal lows or equal highs. They work with a higher low or a lower low. So US 30 does not have to come all the way down here. This can be the last down leg of US 30 before it goes back up. So for US 30 still, I don't see anything currently. Gold, I don't see anything. If gold breaks here, the next sell on gold will be here, and I'll send, let me see how big of a zone this is. So this is 1958 to 19, I'll call it 38. So that's a 20 pip. No, that's a 200 pip zone. So this is tricky, right? So if we divide this zone into two, it's a 200 pip zone. Call it 48. So the middle of this zone is 48 right here. Now, if we're looking for sells on gold, ideally this is how we do our sells, right? The first sell right here, 50 pip stop loss, 50 pip take profit, right? But you can see you're not going to survive. It's hard for you to survive this, right? So you need a stop loss here that will take you above the middle of that zone. So if that's the case, I think this is, yep, about 100. So what you'll do here, no. Call this 1500. So do like a 100 pip stop loss, 100 pip take profit. Now, just for example, right? If you use a one lot here and you're risking 100 pips, if this trade hits stop loss, you'll lose $1,000. On a 200K account, that is 0.5% risk. Now, our filler trade, so this is a filler trade. The next sell on gold would be around 1948. So same thing. I think this will go the same thing. 100 pips, take profit. 100 pips stop loss. Wait, I mistyped that. There you go. But ideally, you want to survive. You want to survive till the top of that zone. Then the next sell on gold would be. So remember, we are still bullish on gold, or I'm still bullish on gold. The next sell would be at 1958 area. So remember, for gold, in order to avoid not getting filled in by slippage, if I say 1958, you can enter at 1957.60 or something. You're not going to lose a lot of money by doing that, even though the trade goes against you. So this one, I would try to ride it longer. So maybe even this. Right, so let me see if I can get a better view. Okay, so we have like huge zones. I think I misdid this. No, so this one should be the opposite. Okay, perfect. So these are the trades for gold. So if gold comes here, again, this for me is a risky sell because I do see. So remember, this is a 200 pips zone. This is huge. I don't like trading huge zones like that. If it was a 100 pips zone, better. But if you do enter this first trade, use a very small lot size. So use a lot size that I think I would use 0.5. Yeah, like a 0.5 is good, right? On a 200K account, 0.5, if you hit stop loss here, you lose, what is that? You lose $500. So that is a 0.25 risk. So that's perfect on a 200K account. Now, remember how we go over these trades, right? If you're in these trades and price goes aggressively against you and you have a pending order set here, go ahead and delete that order, because as we said, what we want to see price come here, at the very least go slightly above and then retrace down. If that happens, we need price to come back up here. We are not going to take our first order here. We are going to take our first order here. If price goes heavily against you on this trade, delete this order. But if price, what we want is price to come back up or fill you in, come back up slightly and go into profit. If price comes again up here, what we want, we're not going to enter here. We're not going to enter here. Our first trade will be all the way up here. So that's how we approach this 3-style trading. So for this trade, make sure if you're in this trade, if price just keeps trending up without any retracement, delete this order. And then now wait for price to close below the 9 EMA and retest the 9 EMA, and then you can set your pending order again. So those are the only trades for gold that I'm looking at. If you're still in this trade or if you re-entered, you should be in profit. So this trade already hit take profit. EU. So EU, we've closed above the 9 EMA for a couple of times. So you can see right here, we are only in demand zones. So I see EU just trending up from here, but let's go on the high time frame and see what's happening. And I hope I'm not missing anything with US 30. We can see the last saving grace for EU is ideally 1.04853. So it's possible for EU to come down here. But again, this is the daily chart, so it might not be today. So we might be on an uptrend for the rest of the day. US 30, again, nothing. So so after huge moves like this, you expect some consolidation and then some move later on. So either we are gonna see this thing drop from this trend line, or it can keep respecting the trend line to the upside. So now is a good time. So not every day do we have to trade, but if you guys, the only trade we took today was gold. And we're lucky we even got a trade in such a day, right? Because if you go on the heat map for US 30, you'll see that ideally everything was red in the morning. So stuff is starting to turn green. So this is for US 30. I believe, or yeah, for US 30. So we have stuff that's starting to turn green. So in the morning, all of this was red, right? So everybody was bleeding. But for us here, if you're using our strategies, there's no reason you should have lost a trade today. Now, I know there's somebody who lost gold buys today. So I don't know, you can put in the chat like where you bought gold and we can see why that trade hit stop loss. So because I think you bought during this downtrend and then you got stopped out, and then it went back up. But you can unmute yourself and ask the question. I forget your name, but I think on Discord you're called Peacemaker. So I don't know, but I don't know
Yeah,
your first.
that's me. That's me.
Okay. So where did you buy gold?
Uh, I sent you the screenshot, but let me take a
Okay.
look
I
at
mean,
it.
I can open it, but I don't know if you, because we put this on YouTube, so I don't know if you want your thing.
Okay, I'll tell you right now then. Just give me a second.
Okay. And I know there's also somebody else who had a question on Marcus. I know you had a question regarding the 4-hour bullish zone on EU. So I'll go over that as well. Yeah, but right now feel free to ask any questions. There's nothing I'm seeing in the charts. This is the
My
only trade. Uh-huh.
my first entry for gold was at 1906.26.
I wish I had a better if you
Last
have trading view, you can let me know the timing of the candle.
uh that was like right before all this, like a little bit more to the left. Still not dropping here. More to the left.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going more. Like right over here.
So 19 or what?
Yeah, 1906. Like you see where it's went up and past the line.
This one?
No, more to the left.
This one.
Yeah, right here. Like
Okay.
1906 on that.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So you're looking for a buy here. Is there a particular reason you're looking for a buy?
Well, let me take a look at my trading view. 1 second.
Okay. So as you're looking at it, so let me see. So if I was trading this and whatever trade I'll come up with, even though it hits stop loss, that's fine. So we're trying to see if you could have bought US 30 here. So the first thing I'm seeing here is that we have a supply zone up here. Now, some of this, I'm going to ignore this zone because I draw these zones every morning. So maybe this zone wasn't here when you're trying to buy. So I'll ignore that zone. So I'm gonna use what I'm seeing. I'm gonna ignore the 15-minute bearish high, the 30-minute. So I'm just gonna go slightly with, I'm gonna go literally only with price action. So I'm gonna use the 9 EMA, I'm gonna use the candles. So what do I see here on gold? So price is ideally consolidating, right? Price is just being attracted to the 9 EMA. Okay, then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna draw possible trend line. So I have a higher high, I have a lower low there, right? Sometimes you have to zoom out to draw these trend lines. I have a lower low here. I'm gonna draw this trend line there. Again, you want ideally 2 trend lines in a channel. So I'm gonna draw this trend line there. Okay, so I already have this high of the trend line. I'm gonna look for so ideally you bought here. So I have a high low. So this ideally wouldn't have been established because what we are looking for is here. So that's how the chart would have been. This one would have been established as a low, as a high low. So here I don't see myself drawing any trend line because we have ideally this would have been an equal low. Okay, so I see price is just closing below the 9 EMA. Honestly, I don't see any trade here. I don't see, like, I'm ignoring this sell zone or this supply zone here. Even ignoring that, if I really had to trade this, I wouldn't because all I see is myself trying to force trades because I can see myself saying, okay, this candle closed below the trend line and then retested the trend line, closed above, and then it kept going there. And then we had this bearish engulfing candle that closed below the trend line, but we didn't. So for me, even for any sell here, I would have been waiting for the retest of this trend line. But even for that, the trade didn't retest the trend line. Now, let's see how. Okay, here's the other thing, right? Look at that. Look at this. What do we call this? We call this death cross. This is when the 9 EMA and the 200 EMA. Actually, let me go back a little bit. Wait. Yeah, for your trade, I wouldn't look for a buy. Reason why? I'm ignoring, so remember I'm ignoring the supply zone. Look at this, the 9 EMA and the 200 EMA. You don't want to be trading when they're crisscrossing like a lot. So it's forming a golden cross, a death cross, a golden cross. Now here you can see price is being held by the 9 EMA to the downside. You can see we have the 200 EMA holding price to the upside. But what's happening is that you can see a potential death cross forming. So death cross is when the 9 EMA crosses the 200 to the bottom. So literally, honestly, I would not have been looking for any buys on gold right here. So you can see it keeps going. The death cross comes in. I'm pretty sure gold is just going to shoot down. There you go. So in any case here, I would have looked for a sell on gold. I would have waited, seen this death cross coming, and then waited for the death cross to form, waited for a retest of the 9 EMA, and then closure below, and then I would have sold gold. So we had a retest ideally on this candle. So I would have actually sold gold at 1903.77. I wouldn't have been looking to buy gold because price action is telling you that this thing ideally is going down, right? Because you have the death cross forming. So let's see what happened after. And then I would look for another sell on the retest of the 200 EMA if it ever did that, but I'm guessing it didn't on this case. Yeah, so I wouldn't have looked at a sell for gold. So I don't know if you had any other confluences that were there, but there was no sell on gold for that one. I'm sorry, there was no buy on gold, ideally only sells. But ideally I wouldn't have traded that trade because price action was too choppy. So I don't know if you have any confluences on why you took a buy on gold. Yeah. So the only trade we took today on the live, for those of you who are joining, is a sell on gold, and it hit full TP for 50 pips. The other trade that we're waiting for is for US 30 to come down here. So right now is ideally a chance for you guys to ask questions that you have. Yeah, but for gold, yeah, there was no buy on my end. There was no buy on gold. And then what I would have done after this, right? What I would have done is to keep this trend line active. So you can see how this trend line is following. So what I would have done, so remember these trend lines are hanging trend lines. I would have drawn this trend line here, and then I would have drawn this a trend line to the bottom because now this lower low has been formed. So I would draw this trend line to the bottom that way. Right. So remember, your trend line doesn't have to hit the second. If price is above, if the third point of confluence is above here, price, you don't have to get the trend line to hit the second point. So you can move it to the third point right there.
Vising, small question. Could you? Can you hear me, or are you
no,
explaining something?
I can hear you.
Okay. Could you explain the trade that you took on gold, exactly why you took it? Because I don't understand why you took it. Did you just take it because it's in the middle of the channel, or?
No. Let me go over that. So let me finish this one on gold. So for this gold sell, I would have waited, like if I got stopped out here and I'm looking for buys, right? I would have, because ideally we are looking for buys, our confluences are for buys. I would have drawn these two trend lines, and you can see this top trend line got respected to the T. These are the trend lines, so you can either touch it to the first point of confluence. So if you just left it at the first lower low, you can see we had that rejection to the bottom side. So the only time I bring trend lines in is if I have more areas, so more lower lows that are above the first point of confluences. But if I try to touch this trend line to these two lower lows, sure, it's still a trend line. But for me personally, I don't like the trend line cutting through candles like this, right? So instead of this, honestly, I would have just, so even on my MT4, and my MT4 is still frozen. Even on my MT4, let me close it. Even on my MT4, this is the trend line I still have on gold. Now, if I'm looking for a buy on gold, where is the best time to buy? I need a retest of a trend line. So this would have been a perfect buy for me on gold. It retested the trend line. So even here, even though you used a 50 pip stop loss on the trend line and you're just FOMOing, right? Even though you're just FOMOing, you wouldn't have hit stop loss and you'd have hit take profit, even though you're just FOMOing. But again, remember we need confirmation for entry. So let's say we were looking for confirmation. Price came up, respected the trend line, closed above. So for this trade, this would have been a trade with some drawdown. So an entry would have been there, give like a 50 pip stop loss, ideally 50 pip take profit. But for this trade, if you're waiting for that reversal and the reversal is valid, you can go for 100 pip take profit. And for this particular trade, sure, it would have gone into drawdown, but you wouldn't have hit stop loss, right? You would have gone straight into profit. But again, you know, hindsight is always 20/20. So that's why I like trading live, because when I trade live, you know, we cannot make up trades. So some people can say, oh, you just made that trade up so that you can win. So yeah, but I just wanted to show you, you need this trend line so that if price goes against you, if you hit stop loss, the trend line is what's going to show you where to enter the trade. So I know somebody asked me, why did I enter this sell, or why did we enter this sell on gold? Okay, so we have this supply zone here, right? Between this supply zone that's marked up 1927.20 and 1923. If US 30, yeah, there we go. So if US 30 gets down here, somebody let me know. So that's the importance of waiting. So here, and I'll show you guys, right? This is the same thing I sent on the Discord today, even before price got there, right? So this is on the 30-minute. You can see that price was getting into that sell zone, right? Because 1927 is somewhere above here. So what do I see? I go on the higher time frame. I'm still bullish on gold. I expect gold to go up because it's a safe haven. And with all this news about banks defaulting or failing, I expect, you know, investors normally move, or smart investors move their money to gold. So I'm expecting gold to go up ideally to the 2000s. But, you know, who's to say we cannot catch a few pips in there, right? So price came up here, rejected and closed back down the supply zone, right? So what do I see here? I come here. So the reason I took the sell, I came here, I saw this downtrend. So this lower high had not been established by the time we were taking this trade. So I draw my trend line. Oh, I deleted the other trend line. Let me see if I can get it back. So this actually, the particular reason was the break of a trend line or trend lines.
And a small question for the supply zone, how did you draw it exactly?
So
Or like, what did you draw based on?
Supply zone is ideally where order blocks overlap, in short, right? So you see how we normally have bearish high, hourly bearish low. So supply zones is where I have like 4-hour, daily, weekly, and hourly order blocks overlapping. So you can have more than one order block at the same area. I'll go over that example when I go over the markup for EU, because I know Marcus had a question regarding a 4-hour order block, but I'll show you like an example of those zones. So the reason for that sell, we have this trend line. Gold has been trending up heavily, right? What happened here? Gold broke below, you know, has been consistent in this channel. Gold broke below here. And I did say that there was another opportunity to sell, but we had missed the sell. So ideally, if we were on the live session, let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. If you're on the live session, this trade had already taken place, but this is the first time that gold broke below this trend line on the 5-minute, and it literally broke below the trend line and broke below the 9 EMA. So what I need for me is a retest of, so remember our entries are either retest of structure, retest of trend line, retest of the 9 EMA. So here, ideally, my optimal entry will be here. I'm sorry, my optimal entry for a sell would have been here, a retest of a trend line, right? So let me do this and do this. So this would have been my ideal sell. However, you know, it's ideally whichever comes first, but this is my optimal sell. Now for gold, you'll notice that the difference between that zone and the top of that zone is what? So 27.88, 27.40, it's 48 cents. You're not gonna lose money entering a trade here, right? So the other thing, what happened with the next candle? I need a retest of the zone or retest of the 9 EMA and closure below. So the next candle tried to close above the 9 EMA and rejected to the downside. So initially this would have been my trade on gold. this trade. It would have gone slightly into drawdown and then came back into full profit. But that's the trade we missed. So when we started the live session, I saw that this trend line, this trend line started way down here, right? So this is 1887 to 1930. Let me do the average math on that. That's 30. Call it 90. That's 40. So this is like a 400 pip move on gold, right? It's very rare that gold does that continuously without any retracement. So I knew that this trend line had been broken. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the reversal. So I'm looking to draw now another trend line to the downside. So what I saw here when we started the live session, I saw this candle. Let me see if I can replay to that zone. So if we go the next candle, there you go. So the next candle literally tested. So this trend line wasn't there. So at this point, this trend line wasn't there. So this candle literally retested the top of that zone, to the top of our supply zone to the pip, and then closed below. So I saw this as a perfect, like for me, when I'm trading, I want to see my zones respected to the pip. So that's how I'm able to have no drawdown trades, because if I see this respected to the pip and rejected to the downside, this is when I told you guys to enter a buy on the next candle. Actually, the next candle had already started forming and the trade was around break even. So when this candle came back up, I said, go ahead and sell gold at that point, because we've already rejected from the top of that zone. And when the trade played out, literally in 10 minutes, the trade hit take profit. So the premise behind entering this sell on gold was the break of this trend line. So it wasn't, it was the break of this trend line and rejection from supply zone to the pip, to the whatever you want to call it. So that's how I like to enter those trades. No drawdown, straight into profit. I don't know if I've answered your question on gold.
Outside of gold being safe haven, how would you know that the gold is gonna go all the way up to like 1958, for example?
Right.
Because it's not going with the trend line.
Okay, that's a good question, right? How would I know? You don't, as a trader, you don't know anything, right? So the only thing you can do is do your markups and make a prediction. And you're right? Because gold and EU are normally correlated. So ideally, either gold should be going down or EU should be going up, but you can see they're going opposite, and ideally both of them are pegged on the US dollar. So for me, primarily, the reason I'm expecting gold to go up is because it's a safe haven. That is it. And honestly, some of these lessons I learned the hard way. I learned this the hard way during the Ukraine, Ukraine and Russia war when it started. So when it started, I remember that day I was trading gold, and gold kept shooting up like this. Gold literally kept shooting up. And what was I doing? I was trying to catch a sell. I was trying to catch a sell. So what I actually ended up happening for me, I ended up blowing that account. So this is why you need to have a journal. So for me in my journal, I have, so let me see, I'll actually read what I have down for gold on my journal for you guys. So for gold, and I can post this. So on my phone, I have a note or journal called Trading Lessons. So that's why I literally put everything. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if we can catch anything for US 30. I'm waiting for US 30 to go down there. So
Is
that's
it 31,440 is the US 30 area?
31,411-ish area. Whatever is between 31,448 and 31,368. So the midpoint of that. Let's see. Okay, so this, in case of threat of war or uncertainty in the market, ideally Russia versus Ukraine, gold goes up and indices fall. Literally, I wrote this last year in, when was the invasion? February, March. That is when I wrote this. It's literally making money for me right now because I'm expecting gold to go up. Indices, what are indices doing? US 30 is straight up selling. So literally, wait, I think somebody's drawing on the screen. I need to disable that. Give me 1 second. Just 1 second. I need to figure out how to delete those. It's fine. I'll take care of that. So whatever I journaled last year in February, it's literally making money for us today. So it's not a question about how did I know. So how did I know? Ideally experience, right? Because this happened to me the last year. So that's to answer your question. And you can see what I read for you guys is like bullet number 15 in my lessons learned, and I have right now I have a total of 68 lessons I've journaled for trading. So let me see. Let me go to the EU markups, the 4-hour bearish high. I know Marcus had a question for that. So going back to EU, let me try and do this on a clean chart. Let's see. Let me go ahead and delete this. So going on the 4-hour chart. So this is literally a clean chart, right? So Marcus had a question regarding the 4-hour bullish high and bullish low that I have. So the bullish right now, right here, I can see. So normally the order blocks for me, I like to see if it's an uptrend, I'm looking at the last bearish candle before an uptrend, right? And the other thing I'm looking for, let me make sure if we're looking at the same chart, or maybe it's a lower, yeah, it's around, okay, yeah, because we have a 4-hour bullish high, bullish low. Okay, so if it's an uptrend, if there's been an uptrend, I'm looking for the last bearish candle before the engulfing candle that brought up an uptrend. So for me, automatically, I can see this candle, this bearish candle. It's a candle of interest right there at around 55.20, I think. Let me redo it. 50. Wait. Horizontal ray. There you go. The high and low of that candle. I definitely see this candle too. It's a candle of interest for me, even though the next candle is not a superseding candle. Okay, so there's that one. There's this one up here that ideally showed where price is trying to go. So for me, those are candles of interest. Okay, so I know somebody had asked me, how do I come up with the supply and demand zones? So again,
I was just
remember,
asking for like the 4-hour candle that you marked. You just didn't take it up to the wick. That was why I
yep,
was wondering. You just took the body.
right.
Why is that?
So the reason I'm looking for that, I'm looking for an optimum place, right? So I come here. How big is this candle? 1.05529. The bottom of that candle is 1.05367. So ideally, I'll call that what, 20 pips. Sure. I mean, a 20 pip range is good in whatever you're trading, but for me, I like a smaller range. So 20 pip, yeah, that's fine. You can definitely consider this the bullish high and bullish low. But when I come back in here, I'm also trying to look at the other candles surrounding it. So I have this candle, I have this one candle marked up, I have this candle marked up. So this candle, no, I'm sorry, this candle, I have this candle marked up, I have this candle marked up. Let me make sure I'm getting, so I have 1, 2, 3 candles that I've marked up. So ideally I have 4 bullish highs and 4 bullish highs and 4 bullish lows. So this candle definitely is of interest to me because this is the beginning of this strong and continuous uptrend. This candle right here only showed us where price was going. So for me, I'll maintain this as a 4-hour bearish low. Oh, I'm sorry, 4-hour bullish low. So let's see, 4-hour bullish low. Okay, so I'll have that as a 4-hour bullish low. And then I'll look at, okay, so if this candle is still of interest to me, what I'll do here, I'll come in here and mark these 2 zones right here. So this is what I would put as a demand zone. Because remember, for me, how I do this demand and supply zones, it's where order blocks intersect. So I'll have that as another demand zone. Okay, so for here, why did I use this? Why did I use the body? And the body is what? what is that, 422-ish? I think that's where I have it right now. Is it 422? Where do I have the bullish high?
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, so for this one, ideally, I just did what I did with the, what I normally do when we have a supply or demand zone or bearish and bullish area. I just divided this zone into two because we can see the top of, so right now I have two bullish order blocks. One is all the way up here, the other one is all the way down here. So again, 55.34 to 29 294. So this is what, again, like a 30 pip. So I just did, honestly, I just did the middle of this zone, and it aligned with the body or the opening of that candle. So this is not how I do them every day. This is only if I have a lot of candles surrounding that zone. But for example, if we go here, like I can show you an example. So if this was the case here, I would only have ideally one bearish high, 4-hour bearish high here, and then 4-hour bearish low here. Let's see another candle of interest, this bearish candle right here. So in this case, I have two candles of interest. So in this particular case, I would only use the bigger one because if you're selling, you want to sell high, you don't want to start selling low. So this particular candle right here, I would use literally just the candle itself. So how I draw these order blocks, it depends on what other candles are in front of it. So if it's only one candle, let me see if I can find a perfect example because I know it might be confusing. I need to find a order block that only has one candle around it. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So if it's only this one candle right here, I would only have one bearish high and one bearish low. That is the easiest markup I can ever do. But if I have multiple candles next to it, there are people who are just going to use that one candle. But for me, again, I'm looking for an optimum entry. So also when I'm doing order blocks, I'm also using some of the strategies we use, dividing zones into three, looking for the midpoint of that zone and all of that. So if in this case, if I have this one candle, I would look to the left and see if there's any other, point of interest around that candle. And you can see on the left, we are going so far back. So if I was drawing this order block on this day, I didn't see anything to my left that makes sense or that's close by. And then let's see if this one held. So this one would just be its own bullish high. I'm sorry, bearish high and bearish low. So I'm trying to see the next time this thing hit. Yeah, we haven't even gone there. So when we get up here, we only have 1 4-hour bullish high, 1 4-hour bullish low. That's the simplest. But if we had multiple candles here, and by multiple, you'll see that during a consolidation, because this is literally consolidation. So when that happens, I'm going to use some other strategies we use, trading or scalping, to get the optimum high and low of a candle. So I'm not just going to use one candle in this case, if that makes sense. But yeah, you could have used it by itself without using the wick, but this is just my own way of doing it. Yeah, but definitely be careful while drawing order blocks in an area of consolidation, because you'll just be seeing a lot of things. So that's why I use my strategies, or the strategies that we go over, to get like an optimal entry. So yeah, during consolidation, drawing order blocks, be careful about that. US 30, so you can see US 30 is coming to our zone. So this is literally patience. Gold is gold still going, or is my chart frozen? I think my chart is frozen. Oh wait, I have the replay thing on still. Exit. Yep. So gold is still trending up. So the next sell is all the way up there. I'm gonna send these levels in the Discord. EU is still consolidating right now. We are in a 4-hour bullish low and bullish high, and you can
What's a
see
good entry for that again?
a good entry for this. You can enter where price is right now, but look at where price can go. So let's see how big of a zone this is. So this is coming from those drawings that I heard earlier. So remember, this supply and demand zones, I have them on the daily. They start on the daily, 4-hour and 1 hour. So I think some of these are based also on the 1 hour. So let's see how the biggest zone is in here. So we have the top is 54.70, the bottom is 48.19. So call that 500. So this is like a 70 pip zone. So let's look at the middle of that zone. The middle of that zone is like 350. So this would be maybe 120, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so this is the middle of that zone. So right now it's definitely there's an entry on EU. Or maybe I can just do this. Around 120. So the middle of that zone is around 1.05, 120. So right now we have this. So look at surrounding us is only bullish zones. So right here, literally, I would be looking for price. So if you haven't formed in yet, I would be looking for price to close above the 9 EMA. So again here, I'll come in here, draw my trend line, put it up here. So this is a hanging trend line. So we're expecting this to be established as a high low. We're looking for buys on EU. So looking for price to close above the 9 EMA, retest the 9 EMA for any buy. So whatever buy you're gonna get in, make sure you can survive price dropping to 51.20. Again, risk no more than 0.5% for this particular trade because we have a big zone. So this will be the buy on EU. So look for the closure above the 9 EMA and retest of the 9 EMA for this one. 50 pips. I think 50 pips stop loss. Let's see how far that's gonna go. Perfect. So that would be the buy on EU. If the trade goes against you, or if it goes well, the next buy on EU will be here. For this one, I'll try to go for a bigger take profit double. So do like a 1:2. And then the last trade of EU would be this one.
You gonna post us on Discord by any chance?
Yes, I will. Yeah, so I'll send the actual levels on Discord, but it should be something similar. So remember, right, if you get a confirmation for this entry and price goes heavily against you, what do? And you've set a pending, your next pending order, right? You go ahead and, so if price comes here, fills you in, what we want to see is this and then this. Doesn't have to go all the way to TP. Remember to secure your fillers. So by filler lot, I mean like a small lot size. So this is what I mean. Don't use a big lot size for this trade to start off with. So we want to see price come here, go here. Then we want to see price retrace, fill you in. If you have drawdown, so long as price doesn't keep coming here, do this, go this. And then the last very trade, we're not going to enter here. We're not going to enter here. Our first trade will be at the bottom of that channel. Yeah, so that's how to go about those zones. And I see here off the top of my eyes, I see an overlapping zone here. So this is a proper buy zone for my case. So for me, if price comes down here, even though it doesn't close above the 9 EMA just yet, I might hop into an impulsive buy on EU at around 1.05309.308, because off the top of my head, I see this. So this green, you can see there's two greens. So I think what happened here, I have a demand zone that's starting here and ending here. And then I have the next demand zone that's starting here and ending here. So this area is where two demand zones have overlapped. And you can see that's where price is literally rejecting from. And where do I see, so what do I see price doing? I see price coming to retest the trend line, and that trend line is literally in that demand zone. So for me, personally, if price comes down here, instead of entering up here, I'll get an early entry for EU and I'll buy EU around this entry. But for the trades that I'll send you guys, since I want you guys to be safe, I'll send you these three trades. So for this first trade, again, if you're off the charts, just set a pending order, and then you should be filled in. If you're on the charts, you can wait for a confirmation. Yeah, not sure if I'm gonna get anything for anything more for US 30. Gold is still ranging. So this is perfect for a retracement. We can probably, so we have some equal lows that have been formed here. So yeah, gold is ideally, I wouldn't be looking to trade gold right now because I can still see it possibly breaking up to the upside and trending slowly. EU, we've already marked up the charts for EU. Does anybody have any other question or anything we've gone over? I know it's almost 11 a.m. Eastern time, and that's when we stop trading. But we definitely had a win for gold today for 50 pips. For those who caught it, well done. And for you guys, it's easy to make money, or it's easy to celebrate when you're winning and trades are hitting. But if you have such days when price is doing some of this weird moves and you survive and make money, that is when you're growing as a trader. So when you see these moves, use the trend line like as a safety belt. Protect yourself. It tells you where to enter. Don't worry about price going up or price going down. As traders, that's the best thing. As traders, we can make money either way, whether we are selling, whether we are buying. There's somebody else, I think, hashtag peacemaker. I think that's what I'll be calling you. You had asked me, you had mentioned about the lines that I have. So definitely we have a lot of lines on our charts, right? But for me, when I'm trading, I'm not subconsciously, I'm not looking at this, I'm not looking at this. If price is here, subconsciously, like literally, I'm only focusing on this zone. So if you zoom out of this chart, yes, we have a lot of lines on our charts, and it's definitely confusing. If you see, and I know I praise Steven a lot. Steven's charts, like, this is amazing, right? He barely has any lines on his charts. He just has a high here, he has whatever here, and that works for him. And for him, he catches like amazing trades. For me personally, this is what works for me, and this is what allows us to get those markups. Now for these lines, think of them as a map, right? So if you're going somewhere you don't know and you put a destination on Google Maps, if you zoom out of the map, you'll just be seeing a lot of things, right? You'll just be seeing a lot of roads that ideally don't make sense. But what Google Maps or what Waze will show you when you're driving is literally your next exit and your next exit and your next exit. So when I draw these lines on the charts, forget about what's happening here. Don't look at this. Let's focus. If price is here, let's focus on this line and let's focus on this line. Like right now, even though I'm looking at the chart, I don't care about the 15-minute bullish low. I don't care about the 30-minute bullish low. The only thing I'm caring about is the Monday low and the weekly low. That's it. So as much as we have a lot of lines on our charts, forget about the lines that are away from where price is not. Let us focus on where the lines are. And once you do that, like automatically you'll get used to it and you'll just not be even seeing these lines when you're trading. So does anybody have any question regarding any markups, any lines, any trades that we are taking, anything you want me to analyze for the rest of the day?
No,
Okay.
I'm good for.
Okay. And I still need to do videos. So keep in mind, ideally, this is just my own little project. So I still need to do videos about how to be in trades or how to enter trades. So, just give me a little bit of more time so that I can make those recordings for you guys and post them for us. So ideally think of this as a startup. So it's ideally baby steps, but you're making money. Like if you've taken any trade with me this week on the live session, you've made money every single day of the week. Since we started these live sessions, we've had like 3 losses that ideally were filler trades that shouldn't have affected you, but every other day we've had like on average 3 wins. So today's the only day we had like 1 trade. So other than that, if anybody else has a question, go ahead and ask. If not, I'll see you guys here tomorrow, same time. I'll send out the entries for these pending orders on the Discord. So I'll send them on indices for US 30, Forex majors. I'll send a EU trade, and on commodities, I'll send the gold markup. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.